She didn't cry when she packed her bags. She smiled. Said his name like it was freedom. I watched my marriage walk out the door and told myself I was fine. I wasn't. Weeks later, my phone buzzed at 2:17 a.m. Her name. Her voice shaking. She said she'd made a mistake. She said she missed me. What she didn't know was how much had changed. Before everything fell apart, my life was simple. I was just a regular man trying to do his best. At the time, I was working away from home. A long-term job assignment in another state. Small apartment. Quiet streets. The kind of place where evenings felt longer than they should. I spent most nights alone, eating takeout, scrolling my phone, and counting the days until I could visit home again. I had been married for 8 years. We weren't perfect, but I believed we were stable. Comfortable. The kind of marriage built on routine. Morning coffee. Short texts during the day. Long phone calls at night where we talked about bills, family, and plans we said we'd make someday. My wife stayed back in our hometown. She handled the house. I handled the money. That was the unspoken agreement. I trusted her completely. Never checked her phone. Never questioned late replies. If she said she was tired, I believed her. If she said she was busy, I understood. From a distance, our marriage looked normal. Even peaceful. Photos on social media still showed smiles. Holiday pictures still sat on my desk at work. I carried my wedding ring like armor, a reminder that no matter how lonely the nights felt, I belonged somewhere. When I visited home, things felt quieter than before. Less laughter. More silence. But I told myself that was just stress. Life does that, I thought. People grow tired. Love matures. I didn't know then that I was already living in the before. The calm part of the story. The last stretch of normal, before everything I trusted began to shift. The first signs were small. Almost invisible. So small, I ignored them. Her replies became shorter. One-word messages. Sometimes just a thumbs-up emoji. The long night calls turned into quick check ins. 5 minutes. Then 3. Then none. She said she was tired. I believed her. I wanted to believe her. Then came the missed calls. I'd call during my lunch break. No answer. I'd call again at night. Straight to voicemail. An hour later, I'd get a text, "Sorry, phone was on silent." That excuse started repeating itself. Too often. I remember standing in my apartment kitchen one evening, the light buzzing softly above me, phone in my hand, watching it ring. I counted the seconds. 20. 30. 60. When it stopped, the silence felt louder than the ringtone. That was the first time a thought crossed my mind that made my stomach tighten. What if I'm not the priority anymore? I didn't confront her. Not yet. I told myself I was overthinking. Distance does strange things to people. That's what everyone says. But once doubt enters, it doesn't leave quietly. It sits there. Watching. A few days later, I noticed something else. Our shared bank account looked different. At first, I thought it was a mistake. Maybe a delayed charge. Maybe something automatic. But there were small withdrawals I didn't recognize. Nothing dramatic. Just enough to raise questions. Grocery stores I didn't know. Gas stations in parts of town she never used to visit. I stared at the screen longer than I should have. The numbers blurred. I refreshed the app. Same result. That night, I called her again. No answer. I didn't sleep much. Every sound in my apartment felt sharper. The hum of the fridge. Cars passing outside. My phone lying face down on the table, silent. The next morning, I checked the account again. Another charge. Another question. I started replaying past conversations in my head. Her tone. Her pauses. The way she said goodbye too quickly. Each memory felt different now, like a scene from a movie after you already know something is wrong. I still didn't have proof. Just patterns. Just gaps. But something was changing. I could feel it. And deep down, I knew I was standing at the edge of a truth I wasn't ready to face yet. The money kept disappearing. Not large amounts. That was the part that scared me. It was always just enough to explain away if someone asked. Groceries. Gas. Small transfers. But when I added it up, my chest tightened. Hundreds turned into thousands. And none of it matched the life she told me she was living. I sat on the edge of my bed, laptop open, bank app glowing in the dark. I clicked through statements slowly. Line by line. Date by date. Each tap felt heavier than the last. Something was being funded. Just not our life. I didn't call her. Not yet. A few days later, my phone buzzed while I was at work. It was Mark. An old friend. Someone who still lived back home. We hadn't talked in months. His message was short. Hey man, are you doing okay? I stared at it for a long time before replying. Yeah. Why? 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. I don't want to be wrong, he finally wrote. But I think you should know something. My heart started racing. Slow at first. Then all at once. He said he'd seen her. Not alone. He didn't accuse. He didn't dramatize it. He just described a moment. A restaurant. Laughter. The way she leaned in. The way she touched his arm like it was normal. I read the message 3 times. Then a 4th. My hands went cold. But my face stayed calm. I thanked him. Told him it was probably nothing. Told him not to worry. I even added a laughing emoji, like a lie wrapped in politeness. Then I sat in my car for 20 minutes, staring at the steering wheel, trying to breathe. That was the moment something inside me went quiet. No yelling. No panic. Just focus. I started paying attention. Really paying attention. I stopped filling the silence with excuses. I listened to what she didn't say. I noticed the timing of her calls. The way she avoided video chats. The sudden concern about privacy. One night, she said her phone battery was dying. But her location still moved for hours. Another night, she said she fell asleep early. But her social media showed activity past midnight. I didn't react. I collected. The proof didn't arrive all at once. It came in pieces. Small, sharp pieces. An unfamiliar name popping up in her likes. A photo reflection that showed more than it should. A screenshot someone accidentally sent me then quickly deleted. I saved everything. My phone became a silent archive. Dates. Times. Names. Patterns. I labeled folders like I was organizing evidence for a case I wasn't ready to open yet. Every time I thought, this is enough, something else appeared. One evening, while sitting alone in my apartment, I finally opened our shared cloud account. I hadn't touched it in years. I trusted her. I never felt the need. That trust felt distant now. Like it belonged to another version of me. The photos loaded slowly. At first, nothing. Just normal life. Pets. Food. Random moments. Then I scrolled further back. My stomach dropped. There were pictures I'd never seen. Smiles that weren't meant for me. places she said she hadn't been to. Messages saved as images, cropped carefully, like someone trying to preserve memories while hiding them. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I felt something worse. Clarity. I closed the laptop, turned off the lights, sat in the dark. This was real. But I still didn't confront her. Because confrontation gives answers. And I wasn't done asking questions yet. The money suddenly made sense. The late nights. The distance. The silence. All of it connected like dots I had been afraid to draw lines between. I started planning quietly. Not revenge. Not yet. I changed my routines. Checked my credit. Moved small amounts of money she wouldn't notice. I spoke to a lawyer just to ask questions. I didn't tell anyone back home. Not my family. Not hers. I needed to see how far this would go. Every call with her felt like acting. She talked about her day. I listened. I nodded. I said the right things. I played the role of the husband who didn't know. Inside, my heart felt wrapped in ice. One night, she said something that almost broke me. She thanked me for trusting her. I had to mute the call. I pressed my hand against my mouth and stared at the wall until the shaking stopped. Still, I waited. Because there was one thing I hadn't seen yet. The full picture. And I knew deep down that when it finally appeared, nothing would ever go back to the way it was before. I just didn't know how soon that moment was coming. I didn't confront her the way people expect. No yelling. No accusations over the phone. I waited until she asked to see me. She said she missed me. Said we needed a fresh start. I flew home 2 days later. Same house. Same couch. Same walls that had heard our vows. She smiled when she saw me. Nervous. Hopeful. I let her talk first. Then I placed my phone on the table. Not aggressively. Gently. I slid it toward her and said, "Before we talk, I need you to watch something." Her smile faded. I didn't say his name. I didn't ask questions. I showed her dates. Bank statements. Photos. Messages. Locations. Everything organized. Clean. Calm. Undeniable. She reached for the phone. Her hands were shaking. I watched her realize, piece by piece, that I already knew everything. That was the emotional peak. Not anger recognition. She tried to explain. I stopped her with one sentence. I'm not here to argue. I'm here to finish this the right way. I told her I had already spoken to a lawyer. That the money she used was documented. That my assets were protected. That the decisions were already made quietly, legally, intelligently. No threats. Just facts. She cried. Asked for forgiveness. Begged to start over. That was the moment she expected power back. She didn't get it. I stood up, put my wedding ring on the table, and said, "I loved you when you thought I was blind. I respect myself now that I'm not." I walked out without slamming the door. The revenge wasn't watching her fall apart. The revenge was control. Clarity. Peace. I didn't destroy her life. I simply removed myself from it. And took everything she thought she could take from me. And for the first time in a long time, I slept without wondering what was missing. The end didn't come with noise or chaos. It came quietly. The papers were signed. The house was sold. The accounts were separated. What once felt like my whole world became a closed chapter. Clean. Final. I moved back to a smaller place. Nothing fancy. Just peace. Mornings without tension. Nights without questions. For the first time in years, I slept through the dark. I heard things later. Not details, just enough. The life she ran toward didn't last the way she imagined. Reality has a way of catching up when promises are built on lies. That wasn't my victory. It was simply karma doing its job. My victory was different. I rebuilt myself slowly. Gym. Work. Old friends. New routines. I learned that loyalty to yourself matters more than loyalty to comfort. That silence can be stronger than anger. That walking away with dignity leaves no scars you have to explain later. If there's one lesson in this, it's simple. You don't need revenge to win. You need clarity. People who betray you expect you to break. When you choose peace instead, that's the ending they never see coming. And that ending? It's worth everything.